We are back in Buzz City, everybody. Not like we ever left because we had the All-Star break here, but we're actually getting ready for the second half of the season, looking to take on the Washington Wizards tonight. I'm Erin Pitzenberger. This is Matt Rutinsky, and this is the HornetsFanshop.com pregame show. We're getting ready for the second half of the season with a 4-game homestand. Well, first of all, how was All-Star break for you? I know it wasn't really a break, but how was everything?
All-Star in Charlotte was absolutely amazing. Let's just first start off by saying that. Absolutely loved it. It was the time of our lives. It was insane in terms of a coverage standpoint for us and how busy we were. But I'll tell you what, we had 2 All-Stars representing the city. Kemba Walker did a tremendous job. Miles Bridges threw down a 50 in the dunk contest. Awesome work on his part. But the city of Charlotte, as Aaron and I have talked about before, hands down was the 3rd All-Star here and might have been the one that made the absolute best impression on anyone who came into the city. It was awesome to see.
Oh, no question about that. I totally forgot about the game day special.
Oh, hey, that happens.
This is my fault. This is the first time that we're starting the pregame show.
That's right. Hey,
a really long time.
It's been about a week and a half that we've had to do one of these, so we can get to it. We get 15% off. Orders over $40. I'm ready for the game day special whenever Aaron wants to throw it at me. So maybe we'll try and mix it up throughout the course of the second half of the season. But 15% off. Orders over $40. Make sure you get that stuff now. Maybe get some of that All-Star gear that might still be on clearance and get it sent your way.
There you go. Great segue.
See?
Thank you.
There we go.
We go from All-Star to pregame or to the game day special, back to All-Star. Now we're back at All-Star.
There we go. It's like clockwork here.
Exactly. So you and I, we've been to a handful of All-Stars throughout our careers here. What was it, not only the fact that it was here in our hometown, but what made this one so special, do you think, to you?
I'll tell you what, it was very, very well run. I didn't hear any media members really complaining about any of the situations of having to wait too long for a bus, not knowing where I needed to go, not knowing where my seats were, not knowing where dining was. I mean, all these things that seem insignificant to most fans, from a media perspective, when you have this many media members coming in and covering the event, media members like to complain. They definitely do. There's no doubt about that. I love y'all. We're part of you, I guess, in some way, shape, or form, and so we complain every once in a while, too. But overall, just to hear no complaints and hear everybody talk about what a great city it was. The only thing that kind of stunk a little bit was it got a little cold and rainy on Sunday. Wish the weather could have held off. But we got a great Friday, great Saturday, great Thursday even. So overall, I think it was great to see from a media standpoint how well it was received being here. What about you, though? What did you think was cool?
Oh, I thought it was amazing. You know, as a social media manager here, I get to see all of the fan reactions that come in, the people that tweet us, the people that tweet Spectrum Center as well. And, you know, I honestly could not see one negative tweet about us, and I thought it was amazing to see. And the one thing that everyone was just floored and just taken aback by was our amazing WOW staff. You know, you walk in and you have everyone that works here with a smile on their face, getting ready to see everything. You know, they're cheering on with every other fan here. And you know, there's one during who was it, Kemba? No, it was Miles' dunk. And it panned over to our wonderful, one of our wonderful WOW staff women. And you know, everyone just saw, and they hung on to her reaction because she was everybody's mood at that point. She was just like, man. You know, if you're a Kemba Walker, Miles Bridges, a Charlotte Hornets fan, you really want to see these guys thrive. And so for her to see that, I thought it was great to see the WOW staff.
Yeah, it was our own version of Michaela is not impressed. Feel free to take a look, because that usher was not happy with the missed dunk. There is no doubt. But also, aside from the WOW staff, aside from the media, we have to talk. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the law enforcement and the way things ran here. That was the other thing that we got tremendous praise for, I believe, is that no one really complained about getting places. We were worried about traffic and how bad things would be. Traffic actually didn't seem that bad to me. I know it seemed crazy. I was planning on getting here hours ahead of time for things. Didn't have to leave as early sometimes as we thought we might have to. The city did a tremendous job rerouting things, even though streets were closed, getting people to where they needed to go, and the law enforcement, huge props to them. We saw Shaquille O'Neal of all people, stopped in the middle of, while he was trying to leave here and took a picture with some CMPD police officers. That had to mean the world to them. But just to get that kind of response from a guy like Shaq, who's been to all of these, knows exactly what goes on, and comes out and talks about our city and what a great job they've done that way, I think that's tremendous praise for those folks, and everybody should be absolutely proud of the job that they did as well.
Absolutely. I think, you know, from top to bottom, whether it's the CMPD, whether it's, you know, the first responders, or even just around people, the city of Charlotte, and Charlotte's Got a Lot, all of the people that really took time to prepare all of the Charlotte residents for this event, they did a great job. Everyone knew what roads were going to be closed. They knew where they could go. They knew what time the light rail was not going to be accessible. So everybody came in prepared, and I think because of the preparation that went into putting on this event, everything went as smoothly as it possibly could.
Yeah, I was absolutely amazed. My family and I took the light rail in on Friday night for the rookie game, and I've never ridden the light rail. I'm just going to say that. I live up in North Charlotte, so it's my first chance to do it. Was a little terrified bringing 6 people on the light rail with me to and from, but it worked out great, and everybody in the city of Charlotte, even riding the light rail, was extremely helpful to each other, making sure we all got on and got off at the same time, because you don't want anybody left behind in those situations. So it was really cool just to see that as well. But overall, you know, I know we're going to get into talking about Kemba and Miles, but just the impression that those, especially Kemba, left on this city to other players as well, I thought was really cool. We heard LeBron James come out and talk about Kemba. We heard Steph Curry come out and talk about Kemba and what he's meant to the city and how much they loved the All-Star experience here and what they saw with him, and I think that was pretty cool. Yeah,
that on top of the fact that we had a ton of people coming in for the celebrity game, too. We had all of these people that came in, whether it was here or Bojangles or everywhere. Everyone just loved the city of Charlotte, and we had a chance to actually catch up with some of the celebrities, too, to talk about what this city meant to them for that weekend.
I mean, it's been incredible. The city, you can feel it. There's a buzz, you know, pun intended. It's a good energy, and I think it's great for Charlotte. Like, I think they're showing up.
This is spectacular. When you think about the last time it was here to now, the growth of the game, the growth of the franchise, the new ownership of the franchise under Michael Jordan, the logo. I think that this is fantastic.
As a southern city, this is the perfect opportunity to show the growth of the city. A lot of people drive through North Carolina to go to Atlanta. They move to Atlanta. Now Atlanta's overcrowded. You can't go to Atlanta and have a good time. People got to slow down once in a while. Get gas in North Carolina. Get gas in Charlotte. You know, and look around.
Charlotte's doing a fantastic job, and all the stuff that's going on, all the law enforcement, logistics, man, it's unbelievable. I mean, uptown is packed. You got people scootering, Bird, and just name it, linemen, walking. You know, everything is awesome.
What a great town! It's an amazing place, and the community has been so welcoming, and it's been such a fun weekend, and like the energy about basketball around this town. I mean, I knew it because of UNC and Duke. But to see it in person, it's really been thrilling.
Chris Kroger in the house, everybody, our Hornets radio broadcaster here. Chris, you were here for the entire week of All-Star, but you were able to kind of attend these things as a fan, right?
Yeah, I was like, what is this? This is odd. I get to sit in the seats, and I normally get pretty worked up on the air, but I actually got to just cheer as a fan in my seat, so that was a lot of fun. And yeah, we haven't had the All-Star Game in 28 years. I said, I got to find a way to be in the building. Absolutely.
So the time that you parked your car and you walked up to Spectrum Center, what was the atmosphere like? And when you're walking around these fans, were there any things that you heard saying like, oh, we're excited to see the Hornets, we're excited to see other people? What was going on?
I think people were really blown away by just how easy it was to walk through uptown Charlotte. I think for a lot of people who maybe hadn't been to Charlotte since All-Star Game in '91, or maybe haven't been to a big event in Charlotte, didn't know how the city would handle it, but it was extremely walkable. I know people were worried about traffic and things like that. I never ran into any traffic. You parked, you walked a few blocks, you got to take in all the fan events at Epicenter, and then when you got into Spectrum Center, everything was kind of blocked off too, so you were just inside and there wasn't a lot of hustle and bustle. So I thought the city looked great. I thought people were really blown away by, man, Charlotte's got a lot. Yeah, we do, so you guys should come back more often.
I think that one thing that we were just talking about before is the fact that there was, sure, we had Kemba Walker, we had Miles Bridges, but there was a third All-Star, and it was the city of Charlotte. Overall, the impression that this city left on anyone who visited, whether you were a hometown fan or coming in from China, it didn't matter. It seemed like everybody was happy with how the city showcased.
Yeah, I think we got tons of restaurants and things to do in Uptown Charlotte. Like I said, it's extremely walkable. Weather-wise, we didn't have the best weather for the weekend, but even then, it was in the 50s, a little rainy, some came out a little bit. So I think people were just really realizing, wow, Charlotte's grown a lot. It continues to grow. We got skyscrapers left and right, and we got cranes building even more as you turn around. So I think Charlotte really came out looking great, and maybe it's a precursor for what's to come. You know, the NFL draft is on the move now. I think that's entirely realistic, and I've always thought, and really the last weekend solidified this to me, could you bring the Final Four to Charlotte again? We had it in '94, if you remember, at the old Charlotte Coliseum. Now they like to play in football stadiums. Well, ours is outside, so it's a bit of an issue. But if you could ever have that sort of arena, that stadium where maybe there's a dome or a roof or whatever, I think we love basketball in this state and in this region. It's infectious. I think you realize that. We celebrated the game last weekend. And so if you could ever pull that off, I think the Final Four would look beautiful in Charlotte, too.
What did you think about the vibe that you got from fellow fans as you're walking in the building, just hearing people talk? I mean, I know I came with my family on Friday night and had a chance to be a fan a little bit, but what did you hear from fans as you were kind of walking?
I think people were blown away just how great our arena is, right? We get to see it every day. We're in here. We take a lot of pride in how clean and well kept our arena is. But, you know, for me, traveling around the NBA, you see other arenas that are really nice. You see arenas like the Bucks have in Fiserv Forum, which is beautiful. It's new, the greatest new technology. But then you see our arena, it's 15 years old. That's not necessarily young by any stretch in today's NBA. But when you look at it, we take great care of our arena. It's got a great fan atmosphere. The concourse is easy to walk through and navigate. So I think people were really blown away by, man, you guys got something special here. And then when you had the energy in the arena, too. So you think about that. We're getting ready for the final 25 games for the playoff push. You have that energy and atmosphere in the arena. It's kind of infectious.
All right, so you're in the building. You made it in. You made it to your seat.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to talk about Kemba just yet. I want to talk about Miles. Okay. Miles Bridges and the dunk contest, the slam dunk contest. How nervous were you for Miles?
I was nervous, if only for the fact, and I think this proved true, the first dunk is the hardest.
Yep.
Not knowing what anybody's going to do. I think landing your first dunk is always the biggest hurdle, because if you can do that, you get yourself a solid score, you've laid the groundwork to put yourself in a good position standings-wise. So I think Miles came out with a great idea, a really great idea. Almost too great, perhaps, because it was really hard to execute. But I was nervous for him because I knew I had heard rumblings like everybody else, hey, here's what's in his bag of tricks. And if he could get to that point to break that out, I thought, this guy's got a legitimate chance to win the dunk contest. And unfortunately, he just didn't get to show all those tricks.
Right. Yeah, like you said, it was a very difficult dunk. I would argue that he probably had the hardest first dunk out of anybody that was competing.
And think about it. If he landed it, there's no way Miles wasn't in the championship round, right?
And he would have won.
And I think he would have.
I think so.
Yeah.
We all agree that, yes.
Well, look, to get a 50, there have been, we talk about 50s are thrown out left and right in the dunk contest. That's actually not true. There are a very small amount of 50s that have never been given out in an NBA dunk contest. So to get a 50 by itself, I think it's pretty special. To get it from your all-star point guard, Kemba, on the lob off the side of the backboard, wearing the Larry Johnson jersey, at home, I think makes it that much sweeter.
And another detail that we failed to see up until we actually saw him smiling was the gold tooth.
Yeah.
How crazy was that? We had our doctor, Larry Seitland, go in and actually spend time perfecting that Larry Johnson gold tooth.
I think, much like John Collins, I got to give John Collins, we don't like giving Hawks credit sometimes, our division rival, but his first dunk was incredibly hard. But he made it look so simple that I think people didn't realize it.
That's true.
Same thing with the theatrical element for Miles. I don't think people realize, like you said, maybe if he had really gone up to the camera and flashed a smile for a close-up, I think he would have sold it a little bit more. But look, these are the things you learn in your first year in the dunk contest. Do we think this is Miles' last time in the dunk contest?
I don't think
probably
it should
not.
Be.
Right?
We don't know if he's going to do it, but
I would love to see him in there.
Lessons learned. Now you know.
Yep. I think you get rid of the jitters. You get rid of everything this first time around.
Yeah.
Next year, we'll see you back, buddy, and we'll see you in the championship.
And he's always said, to his defense, I'm an in-game dunker. And I think there's some truth to that. There's just a difference in knowing how to plan, the strategy. There is strategy, like we're talking about in the dunk contest, being theatrical, knowing how to sell it, be an entertainer. I think Dennis Smith Jr. and Hamidou Diallo were really good at the entertaining aspects of what they did in dunk contest. If you're talking about the pure dunks themselves, I think Miles is as good as it gets because of how hard he can dunk.
Yeah, I think, too, when you look at Miles, let me ask you a question. When he misses the first two, you know what the rules are. You've only got 3 attempts. Do you dial it back just to get the score? And in retrospect, if we're talking to Miles as he's going forward and learning from this, do you think he should have done that?
It's tough. Maybe that's an option, but I think Miles, and I haven't asked him about this, we've watched him after practice and shoot-arounds throw that dunk down before, but normally he'll get a full head of steam and run. And I think maybe what he was trying to do was make it more difficult by not getting a running start, to just throw it off the glass and basically jump off 2 feet and throw that dunk down. But maybe that's the way you tweak it of, okay, I can't do it here, let me make it a little easier, I'll get a running start, and at least land it and get, I don't know, what are you going to give me? Give me a 40, a 42, a 45? You get a score like that, you're still going to the championship.
So did you get chills when you took off to warm up and they had the Larry Johnson?
It's pretty special.
Is that something that's...
It's pretty special. Actually, the highlight to me, I think, for All-Star Saturday night, which was pretty surreal, was Kemba coming out to address the crowd to open up Saturday night.
That was
and could you imagine how Kemba felt? You come out on the stage, you open national, not only national, international TV broadcast by addressing the crowd saying, yeah, this is my city, welcome, we're going to put on a show for you guys. That was pretty cool.
And how awesome was that? Because Aaron and I had talked, and I said the one thing I wanted from all this weekend, I knew there was so much great going on, was I wanted Kemba to be received better than anyone else in this city because it is his city. We know we've got Steph Curry, who's got a lot of ties here, and he was in a lot of things with Kemba. But to hear Kemba get louder ovations, to me, that really meant how much the city is behind him.
Yeah, and I think that was another cool element of the weekend, too, was it was kind of a shared stage. It was Kemba, because this is my team, my city, my building. I've earned this spot as a starter in the All-Star game. He's now only the other 3-time starter for a Hornet as an All-Star starter other than Glenn Rice, and he's right there with Glenn in terms of one of the most prolific players in our franchise's history. So he shared the stage, and then we got to share it with the Curry family. We love Dell. Kemba broke his record, a lot of his records, still breaking records in Hornets history. Dell's obviously on our TV broadcast, and to see Steph and Seth be a part of All-Star Saturday night too, growing up here. They refurbished a youth basketball building just right down the block from where we are here in Uptown, where they play basketball. So it was kind of cool to see the history of our city and the Curry family, and then see Kemba, who represents the now of our city and our basketball team. I thought that was pretty special.
Yeah, going off the heels of that, we had so many legends around here during the weekend. We actually called Glenn Rice the mayor of All-Star. The mayor of All-Star Weekend, because he was everywhere. And lo and behold, on Sunday, he was named Legend of the Year.
I think Glenn, it's cool. We've seen him the last few months as we celebrate our 30th anniversary. I think maybe he would even tell you, if you asked him to just give us some cold hard truth, I don't think he even realized how much Charlotte meant to him. I think it's always been special, but as he's come back this year, I think he's realized, right? He loves the city. He loves how the fans have always loved him and appreciated him. And I think he recognizes he occupies a pretty special place in our team's history too. So he enjoys it.
No question. Now going back to Kemba Walker, Saturday night wasn't really his night. That poor guy was just exhausted. He's been doing appearances since they got back from Orlando on Thursday, from Friday morning all the way until that Saturday night. He had back-to-back appearances constantly, and so it kind of showed when he was on the court on Saturday.
Yeah, and I thought Sunday too. You saw him out there. I think he was very happy to be a part of the game. He was out there trying to facilitate for his teammates, which is fun too. I think he recognized the floor is open. Look at who I'm playing with. Look who I'm running. I'm out there running the backcourt with Steph Curry right now. What a dream this is. So I think he was having fun dishing the basketball, getting guys quality looks on Sunday. And on Saturday, you saw moments where he got hot. He had that stretch where he started to look like he was going to round the corner and maybe make it to that championship round. But yeah, I think he's had a lot on his plate. And even beyond that, he was saying, you guys saw him on Saturday for Media Day, everybody's asking him, it's my city. Where do we go to eat? What do we do? What's going on? You live here. This is your city. So I think he was showing everybody the ropes in Charlotte all weekend long, too.
A little bit of unpredictability of All-Star Saturday night. Joe Harris, arguably one of the best three-point shooting fields ever. And Joe Harris wins it. What did you think about that?
But you know what? I'm not surprised. I don't think you guys are either, because we've seen the Nets already twice this year. The Hornets are 1-1 in the season series. We're going to see them again coming up over the next few weeks here. We'll see them tomorrow night. But when you look at who Brooklyn is and the way they play, Joe's been one of the best shooting players in the NBA all year long. So Brooklyn, I know, maybe is kind of not that star team that everybody's paying attention to, but if you watch them, they're really good, and Joe's been a big part of that. So I wasn't surprised. I think you could have taken anybody, honestly, even Dirk, and said, hey, if this guy won the championship for three-point contest, you'd say, I believe it. And I thought Dirk had some moments too, more so on Sunday than he did on Saturday, but even Dirk had some moments that was pretty special.
Now let me ask you something, because this was a hot button topic for me after Joe won this. If you win, where do you put that trophy?
Oh, it's going on my mantle or somewhere. I'm not giving it to, I know, I respect Joe. I know it's because Coach Sanchez is the head coach for UNC Charlotte for the 49ers. He was with them in Virginia when he played there. So he got some practice run at UNC Charlotte.
Okay, that at least explains a little better for us.
But still, no, I'm taking the trophy
the way
with
that
me.
this guy said it, he was like, yeah, they let me practice there yesterday.
It's going to
so
Charlotte.
That's where it's going. I'm like, I guarantee you there's somebody in your life that deserves this a little bit more than a facility.
Dad,
right.
You got a girlfriend, fiance, wife.
Right, yeah, that was a very hot button topic for me that night. I was like, what?
No,
really?
so yeah, the line is, Coach Sanchez, who's the first-year coach at Charlotte, coached at Virginia under Tony Bennett, former Charlotte Hornet Tony Bennett.
I'll cut him some slack.
Joe played there. He was an assistant. Now he's there. Let him
Still
practice.
not an excuse, but we'll cut him.
It's a little deep, if you ask me. It's a little too much. You're reaching a little bit.
Yeah, kind of a reach. But.
Well, you brought up Kemba, too, and how the fact that he deferred. And when we talked to him after the game, he said, look, I knew my shot wasn't going, and I just wanted to play the game the right way.
Yeah.
Love that about Kemba Walker. He's in an All-Star game and realizes I missed my first couple threes. I'm going to play this game the way it's supposed to be played and realize I'm not hot right now. Let me set everybody else up. And he leads the game in assists.
You know what? I thought it would have been funny if he went out there and just said, you know what? I'm going to try and get the assist record for an All-Star game, right? There's nothing wrong with that. I think we always look at guys trying to get their shots up, like you said, in an All-Star game because those opportunities are there. But if it's not there, your shot's not falling. Yeah, I'm going to go play the game and facilitate to some of the world's best players. And how fun was that opening quarter with Kemba and Steph and watching Giannis get hot?
Oh, yeah.
Giannis, I thought, was going to break the All-Star record that Glenn Rice holds for points in a single quarter. He had 20 in the third quarter, if you remember the 97 All-Star game. That record still stands. Anthony Davis tied it a few years ago, so he's in there with him too. But
he had 16, I think.
16, yeah. But he was there, halfway through the first quarter, and I thought that record is falling for sure, but somehow it hung on.
Well, it's always been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. Always a good time talking to you. Where are we going?
We're going to check out some highlights from Miles and Kemba's All-Star appearances. That's
exactly where we're going to go. Take a look.
And now the starting lineup for Team Giannis. From right here in the beautiful city of Charlotte, guard for the Hornets, playing in his third All-Star game. Let's hear it for Kemba Walker.
It feels good to compete here in Charlotte. Obviously, my teammates here, stuff like that, so I'm excited to represent the organization and represent the city. Yeah, I haven't given out any info. Nobody's asked me for anything yet. I think everybody kind of got things set. I think guys can ask Steph as well, so I'm not the only one.
Just the amount of time he puts into his craft, the killer mentality he has. There's no surprise, really, if you think about it. He showed it from college and on, and now he's an All-Star, multiple-time All-Star, and representing Charlotte in his home city now. So pretty amazing to see. I can only imagine he's going to get better. He's going to have a good summer, too.
He's a really fun player to watch. Not fun to guard, but fun to watch.
He's been great, especially for the city of Charlotte, the way he's carried that leadership role, growing in his career. Had a lot on his shoulders every single season to do a lot for this team, but he's been a great representative of Charlotte for the organization. He deserves all the accolades he's gotten, especially this starting in this All-Star game, shooting a three-point contest.
I feel like we got a lot of underdogs, I feel like. Everybody's already counting us out. But we're going to go out there, we're going to compete, and we're going to try to win that game. I'm just going to go out there and have fun, man, I know everybody expects me to go out there and steal the show, but I'm just gonna have fun.
It's super cool, to have Miles here. I've known him since he was in the 6th grade, and I'm very happy for him to come to the league and have the success that he has right now. And what better to be in a dunk contest? I've seen it from the start. He's been dunking since a 6th grader, so. To see it come into fruition in all these years is pretty dope to see.
Cool, me and Miles are on pretty cool terms, and that dude has a lot of bounce, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see what he can pull out of his trick bag. I've seen a couple of dunks from him when he was in high school, so it's going to be cool to compete.
I've seen him dunk everything in college and hoop mixtape and all that in practices when I was playing with him. So I'm hyped for it. I think he's going to have a lot of surprises, you know, and it's his hometown or home NBA, you know. So I know he's going to put on a show.
It's really hard to wrap up All-Star, but we have to move on to the second half of the season. 25 games left, 13 more home games, and 7 of the 8 of our next games are here at home.
Yeah, it's extremely important that the Hornets get off to a fast start coming out of this break.
Yes.
Last year we won 4 games in a row coming out of the break, which amounted to a 5-game winning streak because we won the one right before All-Star break. Looking for something like that again. Obviously, these first 4 tonight, tomorrow, Monday, Wednesday. It's crazy the way the schedule is shaped out. But the Hornets need to come out strong, need to come out rested, need to come out firing to set the tone for this homestand.
Right, and the team actually, they practiced late on Wednesday, practiced yesterday, and had shoot around this morning. I think they're back into basketball gear right now. Kemba, last time we played the Wizards, he shot the 47 points against Washington. What's he going to have to do now? Now that he has hopefully some rested legs, what's he going to have to do now?
That's the biggest thing. Hopefully he took a long nap today. After shoot around, get some extra rest in. We know that he had a long All-Star weekend, really put in all that effort, but he's ready to go again. This team is ready. This team is focused. I think it's cool you mentioned practice. The guy who really seems to be getting these guys focused right now, Tony Parker.
Yes.
Tony Parker's got these guys on lockdown and has told them, look, this is our time. This is going to show what we can do to set things up for this playoff run. We've got to come out strong. Kemba's got to be the guy who obviously is going to set that tone. You don't want Kemba to have to do too much, but at the same point in time, I'm not going to be surprised if he has to do too much to start things off and really kind of take off, show what he can do, get one of those massive games going, get his teammates behind him, get them fired up to really set this tone as Tony Parker wants to see us do heading into this stretch.
No question. Also, not to mention, this is the first time here in Charlotte that these fans are going to have a chance to see our newest Hornets player, Shelvin Mack. So this is actually really cool. You know, we had a chance to talk to Shelvin yesterday. He sent out a nice social media video to everyone saying that, hey, this is the playoff push. We're ready to go. So not only is, you know, veteran Tony Parker locked in, but we have our newest Hornets player who's also sharing the same message. So it's playoff push time. Unfortunately for us, you know, we have the second toughest schedule for the rest of the season. What do you have to make of that?
I mean, it doesn't shake out well for the Hornets when you look at it, but I tell you what, I would rather have a tough schedule if you're going to be a playoff-tested team, if you're going to make it to the playoffs, to know that we really had to work to get ourselves there, because that's going to have us playing at a certain level. If we make the playoffs and get through this second hardest stretch in the NBA after the All-Star break in order to get there, that means your team is going to be playing at hopefully what is its best basketball of the season. That's really what I'm hoping, and I love to hear that Shelvin Mack is doing things like that as well, because that means from 1 all the way down to 14, every guy on this team is focused and ready to get things going. Really important, too, because you've got so many games coming up against the Miami Heat, the Brooklyn Nets, the Washington Wizards. 7 of our next games, and I think out of the next 13 in this stretch.
7 of the next 12 games.
12 games are in this stretch or against those teams. These are teams that are chasing you in the standings. We're sitting there in 7th right now, having to hold some people off. You want to put distance between yourself and 9, 10, 11, 12, so you can set yourself up to maybe have a stumble here and there that'll still enable you to get in the playoffs. So all 7 of those games are games we want to win. We strike that. Let's say we have to win.
Must-win games.
Those are must-win games in my opinion, because you need to get those extra wins to distance yourself from those teams.
All right, so after tonight, we have Brooklyn tomorrow. We just saw Joe Harris take home the three-point championship trophy. What are we going to have to do to stop them tomorrow night?
I mean, you've got to stop. There are a bunch of young athletic players who can shoot the three tremendously. Joe Harris, three-point shooting champion, and can also get to the rim, led by a guy who was an all-star in D'Angelo Russell.
Yes.
So these are good players that are on this Nets team. They're not your Brooklyn Nets from last year when everybody looks at them and goes, this one's an easy one. No, this is a team that's got some all-stars and got some guys that are trying to do the same thing that we're trying to do right now and make their own playoff push. It's up to Kemba and crew to stop them from doing that.
Kemba and crew. Kemba and crew. We are going to sleep in your own beds here in Charlotte for a handful of days. We have Monday night against the Golden State Warriors. It's a Buzz City night. We get to celebrate the city here. Not that we didn't celebrate already for the last however many games and for All-Star Weekend. But we're really sitting down and celebrating Buzz City on Monday night. Make sure you guys come out there. Looking forward to seeing it. You're going to have, that guy Steph Curry who's going to come back here and do his thing. But, I think we actually really, this again is a must-win game.
And it's going to be another one of those sold-out crowds. Right now, it's not a sellout just yet. So if fans still want to come out and see the Steph Curry take on the Hornets, he was just here in Charlotte, but you got a chance to see him again right now. Make sure you hop on to Hornets.com, grab some tickets. There's still some good seats left in the upper deck. I know it's tough to get some of the ones down low unless you want to go luxury, but there are still some seats available to get out here. It's going to be a great matchup. We know the energy's always high when the Warriors come to town, and these guys like to play against the Warriors. We tend to do a pretty decent job against the Golden State Warriors too, which is always good to see. This team matches up pretty well with them, so hoping to see a good matchup on Monday night as well.
All-Star matchup on Monday night. Also an All-Star matchup on Wednesday when we take on James Harden and the Houston Rockets. It's going to be a classic night, one of our incredible classic nights. It's always one of my favorites. And this time we have a fanny pack giveaway to the first 7,500 fans. I already have mine. I'm going to be repping it everywhere I go starting now through Wednesday and they're on after.
I don't think there's anybody more excited about Fanny Pack Night than Aaron Pitzenberger.
Oh, they're a thing now. We've already talked about this. They're definitely a thing. We have a producer shaking his head. He's like, no, that's not happening. That's absolutely no. It's going to happen. It's already a thing. It's happening.
See, he might shake his head, but when we say, hey, are your kids going to want a fanny pack? He's going to shake their, yes, of course they're going to want a fanny pack. Everybody's going to want a fanny pack. You know what else everybody's going to want to see on Wednesday night? Biz Markie. We all know. I'm not singing again. I did it last time. Don't have the voice for it today. Sorry. But Biz Markie is going to be performing at halftime. And what do you have to do if you want to get on court?
You want to get on the court? Yes. Dress up in your 90s gear. It could even be your old school throwback Hornets jersey or something like that. Anything 90s, you can get a chance to get on the court. And that's exciting because, who doesn't want to wave their hands to Biz Markie?
Right. Everybody knows she's just a friend. That's all we need to know. So make sure you rep your stuff.
Well, looking forward to that. But first, before we get there, we have to take on the Wizards, the Nets, and the Warriors, starting with the Wizards tonight. If you can't be here, make sure to tune in on Fox Sports Southeast and listen on WFNZ. We'll see you guys next time. Talk to you guys then.